Hey everyone, I wanted to bring you all together today and sit you all down because I want to discuss the new update, the PvP update part 2 that Flashbulb is hitting us with right now. They're like doing little teasers of the updates, and so far what we know is not making me smile. We're getting, was it two new weapons? I think we're getting torpedoes and flak cannons. And first of all, I want to say the flak cannon looks really cool. Why can't the regular cannon look like that? But also, for the torpedo launchers, I thought the whole point in a building game was to build things, not have the devs make something that just does everything for you. Torpedoes can be a bit tricky on this game just because of the way the physics works, but once you do end up nailing down a good torpedo design, which a lot of people have done, it really feels like that's your technology that you have made, that you have constructed with your own mind, and Flashbulb adding weapons like this just completely takes that away. The flak cannon, I mean, not so much, because flak is not really a thing you can easily simulate in the game because you can't really make a can with a breach. You can stick a distance sensor on the end of a stick that explodes, but flak cannons are more reasonable. But torpedoes, I'm not really buying into the idea. And then they hit us with a bunch of shorts. One of them is of improved muzzle flash. Okay. Yeah, great. There's another one of distance sensors and not seeing terrain or anything natural and just seeing blocks. And I mean, fine. I think there might have been a comment on the actual video. I don't know if that was edited further, but the one I saw was there was a comment on there that said, "Can we have this feature to make air-to-ground missiles?" But are we really going to be using them for that? Are we really going to be having a a bomb that uses whatever it may be, gyros or moving tail fins, with... I don't think you're going to have to make the distance sensor, which is still just a laser source, move around and constantly follow a target. So, good luck putting that on a single bomb and having that under 700 complexity, and then putting that on a plane. So, are we really going to be using it for that? I see the only other use that we're going to have is to stick it on a radar. And I am currently working on my radar. I just haven't uploaded because I'm focusing on my studies. I've actually got my maths book in front of me right now. I'm looking over that for my test tomorrow. But again, I feel like that if you left the players long enough with the new distance sensor upgrade of improved distance, which is great, by the way, that is an example of an amazing update. That is a very, very good update, taking off limitations of things like distance sensors in terms of like how far they can see is great. That's a great idea. But I feel like if you left the players with that long enough, then eventually somebody would be like, my radar keeps pointing its missiles towards mountain, like cliff tops and mountain edges. How do I stop that from happening? Okay, well, what if I have two relays on my radar, and the first one sees where the target initially is, and the second one sees how far away from the first position it has got to. And then from there, take the two values away, and if there is a difference between the two values, chances are it's not a stationary mountain, and it's actually a moving target. I think people who play like flight sims and stuff will know what I'm going on here. It's pulse Doppler, right? That's how pulse Doppler works. And then with that technology of two arrays seeing how far something was originally and how far it's then moved to work out if it's a stationary target or not. And now they've just put that straight into the game with no terrain, only blocks seeking. And I mean, fine. It does make it easier. But I just feel like in terms of what else they could be adding... Oh, also, just state, the new game mode's great, cool. New game mode, awesome. That's a pretty good update. But in terms of, I know I've said this before and I'll say it again, materials. What about materials? People who want to make tanks can now like spend less time on armor by just having a heavy weight and heavy armor block, and people who want to make planes easier, especially the ones that look pretty and have a high block density, can now just pick a lightweight, light armored block. Not only would that speed up plane fights by making the standard gun rip through plane pieces, but also would make flight a lot easier. And then you can also have a mid-weight, mid-armor block as the standard option for what you're given, i.e. the block currently in-game right now. I feel like with the updates that Flashbulb do, they leave a lot of the balancing up to players. Like you'll see on a lot of plane servers, people will ban the blaster and they'll ban the space engine. And then on a lot of tank servers, they'll ban the dragon engine and they'll ban so many other weapons. And in a way, completely fair enough. Because space engines are so small, you can just spam them, and I'm 100% guilty for this. You can just spam them in a line and make your creation go insanely fast. To be fair, I tried to cap mine at 600 kilometers an hour. But, you know, it's not right. And people ban blasters because, again, rightly so. It's almost the same fire rate as a cannon, smart cannon, but it penetrates through things, goes straight through things, and does way more damage. And the way they balanced it, like last update, was by slightly decreasing the fire rate. Well, not the fire rate, the ammunition count. Which, I mean, okay, but it's going to do the same burst. So if people then stack 15 of those guns on top of each other, it's going to do the same damage initially because there's 15 guns. So leaving the players down to having to balance the game then with individual block bans, whereas you could just stop spam and make people have to build things again. I just don't really see where they're going with this. When will they stop? Will it get to a point where literally the game just does everything for you and there's a plane block which is just a fully functional plane? When does this stop? When do you then move on to different kinds of update content? And I might just be wrong, a lot of people might disagree, but that's just how I'm currently feeling about this. The whole charm of scrap mechanics for me, before I got tired of the engine's better now, but the multiplayer, was the fact that everything you had, unless you installed a mod, which is optional, everything you had to make from scratch. Which is awesome. That is so cool. But with this now, they're just adding blocks that do it for you. And these blocks are like, what are they, 2x2x3? Tiny. That's absolutely tiny. And it all leads up to spam in the end. Whoever can spam the most wins. Great. Everybody loves it when that happens. Just like how they love automatic shotguns in Call of Duty. Just like how they love vehicles with automatic cannons on Battlefield. You know, spam is not liked very much, but Flashbulb seem to love implementing more of it. Anyway, rant over. I just wanted to talk about that today. I'll see you in probably like a week, 2 weeks time when I actually upload some content. Goodbye for now.